Katie, the novel stitcher. It is Saturday, July 13th, and this is Flosstube 38. This is a channel where I talk all about the wonderful craft of cross stitching and share with you what I've been working on, any new starts, any whips, any finishes, which lately have been a little bit few and far between. I talk about my plans, any haul, and I also talk about books toward the end of every video. So if you're new here, thank you so much for joining. I hope you will stick around and like what you see, and please leave a comment and tell me what you're stitching on and where you're stitching. And if you're a returning subscriber, I'm so happy to be here with you again. I hope you're having a wonderful summer and wonderful July. And I'm so excited to share some of my stitching with you. I have a lot to share this video. It's been about 3 weeks since my last video, and that's because last weekend we were celebrating my niece's first birthday. That's my older brother's daughter. I just have one older brother, and so baby Z turned 1 last weekend, and so Alex and I held a party at our house for my family. It was the first time we had my whole family over here. We also had my sister-in-law's twin sister over, and her son turned 3 last week, so it was kind of a double birthday party, and it was a lot of fun. Everything went well. I was a little stressed. I haven't held that kind of big family gathering before, and it was the first time some of my family had seen the house. It wasn't that many people. It was like maybe 16 of us, but it all worked out well. We got catered sandwiches and had enough food for everyone. It was a little hot outside, so we couldn't enjoy the patio quite as much as I had hoped, but we did have some people eat outside for a little bit of the time and had enough room inside for everyone, and it just turned out to be a lot of fun. The weather held out. It was looking like it might be stormy, but it ended up being sunny all day, even if hot, and everybody had a blast, including my baby niece. She was just laughing and clapping and pointing at everyone. She is crawling like crazy, not walking yet, but doing a good job with the crawling and pointing. She likes to point at you and to clap and to help you clap with her hands, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and it went really well. So that kept us busy pretty much all day Saturday, just prepping, having the party, and then cleaning up afterward. And by Sunday, I just didn't have the energy to film. I just wanted to kind of hang out and stitch. So I took an extra week off, but now I am back with a lot to share. I have 3 new starts. I didn't even write down the number of whips. I think there's 4 whips that I worked on in the past couple of weeks. I got some haul, I have a couple plans, and some good bookish content, which will come at the end. So if you like books, stick around for that. And I'll also be talking about my book club, Stiches and Pages, and when we are going to meet for the Stiches and Pages Zoom meetup. So we will just dive right in, and I'll show you what I got going on. So to start, because it is now July, I had a little card here, and I don't, so I'll use my big board. Oh, here it is, just to hold these up. But I did Christmas in July stitching in the past couple weeks, and so 2 of my new starts are Christmas in July themed, or Christmas themed, and I realized everything that I've been working on, for the most well, there's a couple bigger ones, but I'm really into the smalls right now. I'm just enjoying stitching smaller things that I know I'll get done pretty quickly, and not, overloading myself with any really huge patterns this summer. I think I've just realized stitching on tinier things that are easier and lighter to hold, with Scout clambering over me, is somewhat easier to pick up, just because they're slightly simpler patterns, and just knowing I'll make some good progress has me just sticking with smalls lately. So the first one is called Tall Treat. This is for Christmas, little ornament, so cute. I love it. Giraffes are my favorite animal, and I've been wanting to stitch this since I got this book a couple years ago. This is the Jingle Ball book from the first year that they did it. This pattern is now available, so if you want to get it, it's from the Blue Flower. It's called Tall Treat, and you can, I think, just order it from her website. It is available not in the book, but as a standalone pattern. And so I knew I wanted to start some small things for Christmas, so this definitely was top of the list in my selection process. And I just kind of am trying to be pretty good about stitching from stash. though occasionally still getting some haul in, but stitching from stash for the most part. And so I looked through my fabrics and I decided on, this is Gray Magic by Be Stitch Me. And this is what I have so far. It's a 36 count, really pretty fabric. This is the first Be Stitch Me I've worked on, but I definitely will get their fabric in the future because it's just very nice and easy. The holes are easy to see. I love the modeling, and I think he's looking so cute. So I am using just the called for DMC, just your typical kind of Christmas palette. I'm still really liking my Atom Heart floss drops to be putting this on and keeping my floss all organized. So called for DMC for him. And that's the progress I have. So I think it's gonna be really cute. I like giraffes, and I do not know if I will do him like the Blue Flower finished him because I don't have a sewing machine. I am hoping to get one for my birthday in September, so maybe I will wait to fully finish till then. The pillow is cute, but I might also just finish it in a way where it might be a little bit easier to hang on a tree, so I'll have to see. It might turn out a little bit bigger. I think that they used 40 count and I'm using a 36 count, so we'll see what size it turns out. But it might be cute just in like a little frame with some little decorations around it too. I'll have to see what inspiration strikes me, but this is stitching up super fast. I mean, I already have about 35% of it done, so I think this might be a finish by the end of the month. So I am so enjoying that. Look at his face. He's holding his candy cane. It's so cute. So that's a lot of fun. And I did realize as I was kind of prepping for this video and working on things throughout the last couple weeks that I never mention what the called for is for fabric because I rarely ever use the called for. And I think that's probably just because most of the time I feel like starting something, I don't really kit things up in advance. I'm just like, I'm gonna stitch this, and I just kind of go into stash and see what I have. I don't have anything kitted up or any fabric aligned to any project that I haven't started yet. So usually it's kind of like, not always a spur of the moment start, but often I just don't even think about looking at what the called for is anymore, and I just kind of look and see what I think would work best. Unless it's like a really unique fabric where I have no idea what to do and then I need to kind of lean on. And that's not to say that the call for fabrics that most of the designers pick isn't a great option. I just don't think to anymore because I have such a good selection or a decent selection of fabric to even think about what the called for fabric is. I think also a lot of the times the dye lots for fabric, if it's not just a straightforward like Zweigart or something like that, but if it's a dyed fabric, can vary so much that you might get something that looks nothing like what the picture looks like. I think fabric is also incredibly hard to photograph. So, you know, the picture that you see, the fabric might not really look that way when you actually lay it out. So I don't know. I don't often use it, but for Tall Tree Silver Fox, is the call for. It does not say who the dyer is though in this book. I think Silver Fox might be Fiber on a Whim, but I'm not sure. But I chose something similar, just not the called for, and I realize I rarely ever do the called for anymore, which I think is okay. Let me know, do you just kind of pick and choose? Or for fabric, do you just see what you have or see what might look good? Or do you just kind of stick with the called for? Be interested to know what you all do. And so the next one is from a kit. And I've had this kit for a while. And I thought this is also a small one. I knew I had all the floss already. I had everything I kind of needed. Even the fabric, but I chose not to use the kit fabric because it's kind of crunchy white Aida, as can happen with kits, but is Dimensions Nordic Winter. I don't even remember when or where I got this. Maybe it was like at a Michael's or something like that, but I've had it for a while. And we recently painted my office. It's technically the living room, but I use it as my office. I can pop a photo here. And so it was colors that were not my style at all. It was like a navy blue and like a sandy brown beige. It's kind of Americana themed, I think, what the previous owners were going for of the house, because they had like the Constitution on the wall and an American flag and stuff like that. And I think they had like a bar cart in there and used it as a living room and a sitting area. So not my vibe. So we painted it and I'm super happy. When I'm working in there, work from home Mondays and Fridays, it just makes me happy because it's just more bright. It's just, obviously it's almost the same color as my shirt. It's very me. And I thought this pattern with these colors worked perfectly with the color that we painted it. So I thought I could stitch this and put it up in my office for Christmas. And I'm going to put some shelves on the wall behind my desk, and I'll probably put it up on those shelves. And so I decided not to use the called for because it was just a 14 count kind of crunchy Aida, and I had enough of Fox and Rabbit's Paperbark to use that. And so it's a 40 count, which is making a little of the back stitching and some of the stuff a little bit more different because it's much smaller than the 14 count, but I think it's going to be super cute. And the back stitching is working out. I'm just kind of like doing what appeals to me with the back stitch. Like I didn't really follow, and I don't know how much it's going to show. There we go. These little designs exactly as the pattern shows. I kind of just did what I want. Some of my French knots have come out. I need to fix those. I'm learning with the French knots. I actually feel like these ones are wrong here. Turned out really well. So I'm getting the hang of it. French knots are kind of hard, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. So I'm going to redo a few to make them look a little nicer. But I think it's going to be really nice on this fabric. It's going to be a really nice, smaller size stitch. And the call for floss, which are a mess because dimensions just gives you this huge long thing, but that's fine. There's not many colors either, so that makes it pretty easy. You don't have to do a lot of guesswork. You can just literally look at this and know what color you need to do. You don't even really need to look at the key. So this is just a sweet, simple one, and I think it's gonna look really, really cute in my office. So we'll see. I think I can get this done by Christmas. I don't want to spend too much time focusing on this one compared to some of the others I'm working on, but I think if I put in a little bit here and there on it through the next, 4 or 5 months, I might be able to finish that by Christmas time and get that up in my office. So those were my two Christmas and July starts. Those were my 2 planned starts. And then on Instagram, I saw something and I said, I want to join that and I want to stitch that. And it's a stitch along from the Historical Sampler Company. And I will put, it's a mystery stitch along. And so I'll put the first little bit here. And I often don't always do mystery things because you just never know if you're gonna like how it's gonna turn out. And I liked the sneak peek that the Historical Sampler Society gave you because it really gave me an idea of like what the style of this pattern is gonna be. And I've looked at and added to my wish list other patterns of theirs in the past. I haven't stitched anything by them, but I've seen a lot of ones that I thought were really cute. So I kind of understood what their style was gonna be, and from this sneak peek, I knew that this would be the style of pattern I like. So it's just Happy Halloween Stitch Along. You can still join. This is the first part. They're releasing a part every 2 or 3 weeks or something. The next part I think is out on the 22nd. And I want to say there's 4 parts, but I didn't even pay that much attention to it. I just said, that's cute, and I just bought it, and I just started it. So I didn't pay much attention to all the dates and when things will come out, but it's not a stitch along that I'm gonna like finish each part before the next one comes out, most likely. So it didn't really matter. When stuff comes out, I'll just have the whole pattern, and it'll be fun. And I love Halloween, and I love these colors, and I like Halloween that's like cutesy and fun, and less like creepy and spooky. So I thought this would be perfect. So this is kind of a mystery gray linen. I think it's like pearl gray maybe by Zweigart, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. And it's still in the Q-snap. But that is my little bitty start. And so this is gonna be super cute. And I think this is 36 count, is that correct? Yes. 36 count, maybe pearl gray, some sort of mystery Zweigart gray. There's no modeling or anything, it's just straight gray, which I thought would look really nice. I also saw Helen D stitching this, which also kind of convinced me to buy it because I saw her start and she did it on a gray fabric too, and I thought it was super cute. So check out Helen's channel. She has a wonderful, wonderful floss tube. She shows such amazing projects and her finishings are so cute. She's really great for finishing inspiration, so check her out. And that is my little start. And I don't have my colors of DMC all organized yet. I need to put these on my Atom Heart floss bobbins, but those are the colors. So just kind of like, you know, slightly more pastel-y besides for the orange, soft kind of Halloween-y colors. So I like that color palette for Halloween. I think it's super pretty. So yeah, so that's my little start. And I think it's gonna turn out super cute. I just think that the style is so adorable and it's gonna be really easy to stitch. Just kind of like a fun one. I really enjoyed doing that little spider and the little border there and the black and white. So this is just such a cute one. So I just had to. I was like, ooh, 3 starts, but you know, do what you want, do what makes you happy. And you know, especially that little giraffe ornament is gonna take no time to stitch up at all. So those are a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying those. And so now we'll move on to my whips, and I'll do another Christmas in July. This was initially in my plans to be stitching on this month, and this is Snowy Night by the Prairie Schooler. It's their 2023 Santa, and I just love him with the snowflakes, so cute. So I'm just stitching him on a 32 count natural raw linen. They're called for, do they even have a called for? Oh, putty, 18 count putty khaki Davos. But I'm stitching him on just a natural raw linen that I had in stash, 32 count. And put my little paper down. No, yes. I have like 2 boards, really big board to hold things up and a little one. And the little one is like easier with these little patterns than trying to hold up the really big board. So that is where we're at. And so last time I showed this in my last video, I really didn't make that much progress on it, but I was just at the candy canes with his coat. So I just did more of his coat. I got that part, the green in, and then next I will have his legs. So I'll work my way down and finish both of his legs. I never finished his scarf up here, which I tend to jump around and like not finish parts of it. Sometimes I don't know why I do that. Sometimes I think this time maybe it was like a Q-snap situation where this was too close to the Q-snap for me to continue this way, so I went down instead, and instead of having to take it out of the Q-snap. That might have been the situation, but he's coming along. He's fun to stitch. He's 2/2. All of the other projects I've shown so far are 1/1. I tend to forget to say whether I'm doing not 1/1. That would be crazy. Well, on 36 count it would be crazy. I always do 1 strand of floss over 2 threads on 36 count and up, and then anything below that is 2 strands of floss over 2 strands of thread. So that is very cute, Santa. And I need a sip of water. It's very hot today. Alex and I went for a walk earlier, which was nice, even if it was a little hot. We're in the vicinity of Westchester University, so we sometimes go for a walk around the university, just on campus, because it's really pretty, and there is a good bit of shade and stuff like that, so it's nice. And then we got Dairy Queen afterward, because nothing like Dairy Queen on a hot day. I got the soft chocolate ice cream with chocolate sprinkles, which is my favorite thing to get from Dairy Queen, and it's what I've gotten there since I was a kid. So sometimes I'll get the Blizzard, but it was definitely a soft chocolate with chocolate sprinkles kind of day. So we love ice cream. Do you like ice cream? What's your favorite ice cream? That's my question for you today. So the next one I worked on is Nordic Heart, Modern Folk Embroidery PDF, so I will put the image there. And I'm stitching this as part of the Stiches and Pages book club that I host this month in June and July. We are reading Funny Story by Emily Henry, which is a rom-com, and so I just chose something that had a heart because love hearts seems to match the theme a little bit. We try to match the theme to the book that we're reading. Sometimes it's a little harder than other times. This is only the second book we've done, but A romance novel is a little bit tougher, but I think hearts or love themed things worked great. And so I hadn't done a modern folk embroidery before. Really love this one, it's beautiful. And so I'm also doing this on a natural raw linen, which is also what the Prairie Schooler Santa is on, which I think is a great versatile fabric. And I think like 90% of projects work on this, so it's really good to have some in stash. And I'm just using DMC 498. And this is a 40 count. So this was 32 count natural raw linen. You can see the size is this is bigger. And this is 40 count. And so I can't entirely remember last time what I had. I know I had some of this border. I know I had this done and maybe a little bit of this. And I jump around. So I worked on this for a bit. Then it started getting too close to the edge of the Q-snap, so I decided to move down to over here. And so that's where I'm at. But this one's just kind of relaxing, and I've heard people say that about modern folk embroidery, that it's just nice to stitch, you know, it's mostly repetitive. This one's a little different here and there. I think this one, strangely, has a heart, where the rest of these is just one cross, so that confused me for a second, but I got it. I figured it out. I was like, did I stitch it wrong? Or no, and I was like, is it supposed to be like that, or was it a mistake in the pattern? But it's like that on every side of this heart, where there's just one that's a little different. So you gotta pay attention in that regard, but this is just relaxing. Using one, this is my first monochromatic one that I've done, fully monochromatic, where I'm really only using the one 498 DMC. And so it's really nice to not have to think about what color. You just continue on, and yeah, I'm just enjoying it. So that's a lot of fun. And I think this color is like perfect. This red is perfect on the natural raw linen, so. And then, so that is Nordic Heart. I'm hearing weird noises. Hang on. Hi everyone, I'm back. The power went out. Don't know why, but it's back on now. So I'm back, and so we just finished talking about Nordic Heart, and so I think I have 2 more whips to go. So the next whip I worked on is part of a stitch along I'm doing. You can still join in if you would like to. It started on the first day of summer, but can go throughout summer as long as everyone wants to stitch. It is the Stitch a Garden Sal. So it's stitch anything that is a pattern of a garden or has a garden in it. And so the one I'm stitching is Fairy Garden by Blackbird Designs. Just super cute, super sweet little pattern. So I wanted to get stitching this and thought it would be fun for us to stitch it together, or to just stitch anything with a garden, because now is the time of year when everything is in bloom. And so I am stitching Fairy Garden on a 36 count Affogato by Fiber on a Whim. And I'm making a lot of progress on this one. This is super sweet, super cute. I am not entirely sure where I was last time, but I know I probably did some of this and I had a little of this done, but I think a lot of this I've done since we were last together. And there's my little flying pig needle minder from Rebel Stitcher. I'm just gonna move him down a little so he's out of the way. He's super cute and really strong, great needle minder. But anyway, I am using the called for. It is all Gentle Arts, so just really pretty summery garden colors, and 1/2 on the 36 count, and it's so cute, it's so tiny, and I just am loving tiny stitching, and I really love Little Blackbird. It's just gonna stitch up so quickly. I don't know if I'll finish this month, but I think I might finish certainly before the end of the summer. I think I really don't have a ton more to do. I have to finish up that basket down there and do the little house, this tiny littler basket over here down the side, and then the house and all of that on the other side. So I think it's gonna turn out so great when it's done. I'll have to figure out how I wanna finish it. Probably just in a little frame. I like something like that. That's really pretty. But I'm loving the variegated floss, so you don't really use, I'm not going to use a ton of this floss because it's such a small pattern and some of it only a couple, a handful of stitches really. But I think that these colors and the variegation, just the way it turns out with this in the basket, it really lends itself nicely to this pattern even though it's so small. So I'm just super enjoying this, and it's just stitching up so quickly, and it's so nice to hold just the teeny little Q-snap and just put in a few stitches here and there. So absolutely loving this one. And again, not using the called for fabric. Their called for is, if they say it, they did 32 count straw by Weeks Dye Works. So it's probably pretty similar. Their color they chose might be a little bit darker. But yeah, I'm just super enjoying this. It's just super cute. And I really love the colors of the floss. They're just so pretty. So I hope you are all making progress on your gardens. Please let me know if you're stitching along with the SAL, and if you're on Instagram, please tag me if you're joining in on the SAL, and let me know what you're stitching on and how your progress is going. I forget the name, I didn't write it down, but one of my followers, you finished it and it looked beautiful, so cute. So great job for everyone who's stitching on this. I love seeing your progress, so please tag me on Instagram, or in general, please reach out on Instagram and say hi, leave a comment, share something with me. I love when people do that. I am novel_stitcher on Instagram, so you can follow me there and connect with me when in between my videos via Instagram. So please give me a follow if you're on that platform. And then the last one whip that I worked on was Reaping Love Silver Creek Samplers. I've said this before, but my good friend Stacy, who is the maid of honor in my wedding, is getting married herself in October. I'm a bridesmaid, and she and her fiance are very unique, and they're having a very unique wedding, and it's going to be kind of 1950s vintage Halloween themed. So it's going to be really funky, but it really suits the kind of couple they are, and they just are. Stacy and I are complete opposites, but in kind of the best way. So I am stitching this for her and her fiance, and I'm going to put their initials at the bottom, and probably below this put the date of their wedding. And so this is just funny, and I think they're going to find it hilarious. And so I am stitching, I don't know if I need a board for this, but just in case, I'm stitching Reaping Love on 36 count old stationery by Seraphim, which I think is great for this pattern. I really like this fabric. It's really soft, and it's just a really nice color. It's got a little bit of model, like a nice brown with a little bit of darker brown modeling. It's gonna look so cute. So I made quite a bit of progress here too. I needed to finish like his hat over, or hood over here, finished up the lantern that he's holding, and I did all of this down along his feet. I just need to take this black line a little bit further. I forgot to finish that up because, again, I just jump around like a crazy person. Finished the staff that he's holding, and then I did the eye. That stitched up real quick. And so good progress on this one, which I need to, because I definitely have to fully finish this by early October. So definitely not going to take that long, but you know, it's a good bit of stitching there. I think that school will take some time in the graveyard there and all of that. So I definitely don't want to fall behind on this one, and honestly, the sooner I can get it finished, the less stressed I would be about it anyway. So I'm just going to keep on working on this and put in a couple hours pretty much every single week on this one to get this done in time for the wedding. But yeah, it's coming along super cute, and they're gonna love it. I know they're gonna love it, and they're probably gonna put it up in their house and leave it up all the time. So I think that's gonna be something that, really something kind of special and different to celebrate their wedding and their marriage. And they're in Pittsburgh, and I'm going to Pittsburgh. I'm probably gonna go in mid-August. So they're doing a bachelorette party, but also a shower, and it is about 4.5 hours. So I don't know if I'll want to drive out there twice within the span of 2 weeks. And so I think I'm going to go to the wedding shower as a bridesmaid. I just feel like that makes more sense. They're also doing, which suits them, and it'll be fun, but for the bachelorette, they're going to a theme park called Kennywood. I've not been, but they love Kennywood. Not a theme park, an amusement park. And it's mostly roller coasters, and I don't do roller coasters. They just scare me. I just don't like heights, and I don't like the feeling, and like people all the time are always like, oh, why don't you like it? It's so much fun. But like, I don't enjoy it. It's not for me. And so I was like kind of almost dreading going to the Bachelorette, but I was like, I kind of have to go. And then she was like, and then 2 weeks later, we're doing the shower. And I was like, good, good, I will just go to the shower. And she understands. I texted her and I was like, is it okay if I just go to the shower? And she was like, I don't know if you'd love Kennywood. And I'm like, no, probably not. And like when I went to summer camp growing up, we would go to, I think we went to Hershey once. We would go to like Six Flags, Dorney Park occasionally, like once or twice each summer. And I would always be the one just like eating a snow cone, standing in the corner, waiting for everyone to come off of the roller coasters because it's just not my thing. I'm not an adventure seeker whatsoever. Give me a carousel. That's about the most I like to do. That's why I like Disney World, because there's a lot of like little kid rides, but they're not, but you can go on them as an adult, and like all the adults would want to go on like the Pooh Bear ride or the Dumbo ride or whatever, but like at a place like Kennywood, if you're like an adult going on the little kid ride, you're an adult on a ride that's really meant for children. So yeah, hopefully gonna pass on the amusement park and go to the shower instead. So that'll be nice though, to drive out there and see her. I'm contemplating whether I can stop at Penn State on the way. We'll see. I don't know how much out of the way it is or not, but I went to Penn State for school. You can see the Nittany Lion on the fridge. So it'd be nice to stop by campus, maybe on my way there, get lunch or something. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm gonna leave Alex at home, let him do his own thing, and go to the shower. So that's not till mid-August, but that'll be fun. Okay, so that was all of the actual stitching that I did, but that was quite a lot. 3 new starts, 4 wicks, a lot of progress on everything, so definitely a win. So next I'm going to talk about haul. And I just have a little bit of haul, and I might have a little bit more for my next video because I do have a gift card. So I think I'm gonna do an order from Fat Quarter Shop, but I wanted to get a little bit more fabric for my stash, and then there was a pattern that I wanted, and I got a little summer bonus, so a lot of that went to house stuff, but a little bit I held aside for cross stitch. So I ordered from Hollis Hands Create. She is on Etsy. Her name is Christine. She does a Flosstube as well. I can tag her below because her Flosstube is great. She has lots of wonderful things to share. And I love her shop. She has a really great selection of fabric. She packages everything really nice. And her shipping is really great, and it's just easy. Her Etsy is great. So I highly recommend it if you're looking for a place. She's got a lot of patterns and a lot of different stuff, but I mostly go for her fabric selection because I think it's really, really good. And so I'll show the pattern first though, and I don't have the fabric that I'm gonna stitch this on with me, but this is Pumpkin Row by October House Fiber Arts, and it's the first pattern I've gotten from them, but I like this cardstock, and the pattern is just on the back, so it's just easy. It's just one sheet. Because I do find when it's all separate sheets and I'm pulling them out and using it and then looking at the color key and all of that, I tend to like have like just like pieces of the chart flying free. And so it's nice if it's a smaller chart that it's just on one piece and you don't have to worry about losing other parts of the chart. But I got this, and I don't know where I put it, but I have a small strip of like an RG cream mottled fabric that I got when I was at Salty Yarns, and I did not pay attention to the size of it, and I got home and realized it was super narrow and small, and I was like, oh no, I really should have paid attention to what the size of this fabric was, because I have no idea what I'm going to stitch on it because it's super thin and long. And then so I was looking around and I remembered this one, and I was like, please work. And I did the calculations, and this will fit perfectly on that strip of fabric, and that creamy orange and white background will work perfect with the pumpkins for a little Halloween fall stitch. So this will come out in the fall, and I will show you that fabric at that time. I don't remember the designer either, or the dyer. But yeah. that'll be fun. And so I got that pattern. And then I realized in my fabric selection that I was leaning a lot toward darker beiges and brown colors. And I didn't have a lot of like more white or tan. And there's probably going to be some patterns coming up in the fall or maybe later this summer, even one that I might mention in plans in a minute, that would work better on a lighter color fabric. And so the first one I got was more Paperbark, and this is the one I'm doing, the Nordic Winter DMC kit. And so I got a 36 count. That one's a 40. I decided to go a little bit smaller with the, or bigger with the 36, and it's just, I think it's coming up pretty true. Is really just a nice kind of off-white. There we go. That's what color it is. That's pretty much perfect. So just a nice, simple off-white, soft, easy to see the holes, just very well done, very, very neutral, basic fabric that will work great for most patterns that require a slightly lighter color or would look better on a slightly lighter color, which is why I got, I don't even know. It doesn't, she does not, the only thing is she doesn't write what size. I don't remember what size. I think I got 2 fat quarters or whatever, or fat half maybe. Yeah, so I got a lot of that, but it's a color that will work for quite a lot of different patterns. So I got that. And then I also got Cream and Sugar, Fiber on a Whim. I've used Cream and Sugar before. I went 40 count. I've used 36 count, but I went 40 count with this. This has got a little bit of modeling, but it's also just kind of like a beigey color with a little yellowy beigey kind of modeling in it. I'm sure you've all seen Cream and Sugar, mostly, probably, by Fiber on a Whim because it's pretty popular, but it's also just a perfect neutral that will definitely come in handy. And then the last one I got was Flannel Flower by Fox and Rabbit. I'm really starting to like Fox and Rabbit a lot. I've gotten quite a few cuts of their fabrics. I have like one grayish one, prehistoric, that I really like that I'll have to use for something soon, but I'm really loving their neutrals. Yeah, so this is Flannel Flower. So it's like a neutral beigey with like a bit of a purpley brown modeling, I guess I would say. So this will be fun probably for something like Halloween. So yeah, I like that one. That's pretty true. It's like a little bit, the modeling is a little bit lighter than that, but that's pretty good. So yeah, check out Christine's shop if you're looking for some good fabrics. And now I think I have like a really good stash of fabric, which makes me happy because there's nothing worse than like kind of randomly deciding like, ooh, I really want to stitch that, and then going in stash and really not having something that works for it, and you're like, well, now I can't start this thing I really wanted to start because I would have to order fabric. And I think that for me, I'm getting better at being patient, but sometimes I am that type of millennial who wants that like instant gratification, especially because you can get patterns as PDFs and stuff like that, or the patterns I already have to just be like, you know what, I feel like starting this today and I want to start it, and I don't want to wait and have to order fabric and wait a week to a week and a half for it to come, because by then maybe I'll be like, I'm not really in the mood to start that anymore. So it's nice to have a good stash where just like when you're in the mood, it's there, it's ready for you, and you can start on it. So that makes me happy. And so the last little thing, stitching related, is plans, and I am joining in on Midsummer Stitch by Lindy Stiches. It's a little bit like the Jingle Ball, but a little like more low-key. So basically it's an online stitching event next weekend. It starts on Friday at 6 o'clock and goes till midnight on Saturday, I think. $8. And I'm not sure all that's going on, but I think it's just stitching rooms, more like a collection of different Zooms that you can join in, where I think you can either just meet up with people and stitch. Some different Flosstubers are hosting rooms. I guess you can go in and chit chat with them, and they'll all be in the room. I know that the different girls like Megan the Seattle Stitcher, Bridget the Museum Stitcher, I think Frizzy Lizzie Stitches, I think they're all gonna be in a room where you can go and chat with them. I'm not sure all the floss tubers involved, but there are other floss tubers who are doing different rooms or different things. I think there's going to be a couple little classes to show you how to finish things. I think there might be one free pattern and a finishing class, just like little of this, little of that. I'm not sure the whole agenda of everything, but it's next weekend. I'll put a link down below if you're interested. I think it's like $8. And it seems like it'll be a lot of fun, and I'll be able to hop in for a while on Friday night, and then Saturday we're having some friends over, but maybe Saturday earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon or evening, I'll probably hop back in. So for $8, I thought, why not? Even if I can only spend a few hours checking it out and seeing what's going on, it would be worth it to do something stitchy and maybe meet some new people and just sit and stitch for a while. So that'll be fun. And then the other possible plan, possible new start, whatever. I'm just doing what makes me happy at this point, because I was very conservative with the starts at the beginning of the year, and I'm realizing like I should just do what makes me happy and brings me joy. And so I might start this in the next couple. I think it starts on the 19th, so I probably might join in on the 19th, but it is the Hygge holiday, and it is a new pattern, and it is a stitch along. Starts on the 19th, and here's a PDF pattern, and the pattern's by Hands On Design, and I think it's in partnership with Nicole Spohr for the stitch along. And the reason I really want to start this one is that the colors work really, really well with our living room, which is right over there, or family room, whatever you call it, the main room where we sit and the couches and the TV. It has grayish blue walls, darker grayish blue walls, and a fireplace that is gray and brown. So if you look at this pattern, like the blues and the browns would work so well with our living room. So I really want to stitch this and hang this up in the winter or put it on our mantle, because I think it would just work really, really nicely. And there's a few different colorways. I think it's based on a print that the designer from Hands On Design saw and liked, that's all brown tones. So there's an option where it's all brown tones, different shades of brown. There's one where it's like a more classic Christmas with reds and greens. And then there's maybe one other that's maybe brown and green, and then there's this brown and blue one. So it's nice that she gives you like 4 different color options. That's fun. You could stitch it, you know, in multiple times in different colors if you wanted to. And also she, I think in the pattern, breaks out a few of the motifs as little ornaments, which also you could do in the different colors that she provides. So it seems worth it. I think it's like $16 for the PDF. Stitch along starts on the 19th of July. And so now that I have, because I think you would want to do it on a lighter color fabric, I have my choice of some good fabrics that I could start it on. So it seems fortuitous. And it's just a few shades of DMC, which I'm sure I probably have or could easily get. So I think I will. I think I will join in on that one. So that's on the 19th. So another new start in the next video you see, but it makes me happy, which is all that matters. So that's it for the stitching. Hopefully right now I don't seem too scattered, having the power go out for me a little bit in the middle of the video, but I hope you're well. Let me know what you're stitching on, how your summer's going. I will talk about books, so don't leave if you want to hear the bookish stuff, but if you're just here for the stitching, that's all I got for now. Are you in a starting mood? Are you working through whips? Or are you just busy with summer plans? You know, summer can be a time, I think, where either you're just being lazy and relaxing and stitching all the time, or just being busy and out and about and not stitching. I think I'm at the point of the summer where things are a little quieter, so there's more stitching going on, which is a lot of fun. But if you're just here for the stitching, then you can head on out, and thank you so much for watching. And if you're not subscribed, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Okay, bookish talk. Let's talk Stitches and Pages first. I'm about, I think, halfway through Funny Story by Emily Henry. I'm loving it. Also, if you're new here, Stitches and Pages is a book club where every 2 months we read a book, and then we meet on Zoom to talk about it, and then we try to do a new start or a whip relating to the book. And so June and July is Funny Story by Emily Henry, which I can stick a photo on the screen because the book is upstairs on my nightstand. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really cute. I've read Emily Henry before, so it's nothing surprising. It fits her style of writing and the style of story, but I like these characters a lot, and I like the plot and the way she's going about it, and it's really cute. I'm really enjoying it. So the Zoom. So I had you fill out the form or some people filled out the form to pick what time the Zoom would work best. I had fewer responses than last time, which is fine. I think people are busy and romance is not everyone's thing, and so fewer people I think are reading the book, which is totally okay for this time of year. Totally get it. So I didn't have that many responses on that. So right now I think I'm just gonna do one Zoom. And if a lot of you were like, oh, that doesn't work for me, let me know in the comments and like give me kind of around what would work for you, and I'll see if it's worth doing two. But I didn't want to do two Zooms and have one where there'd be like me and two other people. Not that that wouldn't be fun, but it just seems like it might not be necessary to have two Zooms this time around, and I'm a little bit busy going into August visiting Stacy in Pittsburgh and some other things that we have going on with Alex. So right now, the most people voted for July 27th, which is a Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So I think right now we're just gonna do that Zoom. But let me know if you really wanna do a Zoom and you cannot make that time. But right now, July 27th at 4 p.m. Eastern time was the one that got the most votes. I think 7 or 8 of you said that that would work for you. So I will put in the description a link to another form, and you fill out that form so I have your email address, because then I can email you the Zoom link. So I won't use your email for anything else or any of your personal information for anything. That is simply a way to collect emails, and then I send you the Zoom link and you have it, you can log in that day. So that is what we're probably gonna do. So let me know if that works for you, if you're joining in. Hopefully, you know, even if it's only 8 or 9 people, that's a good amount, and that'll be fun, but as many people who wanna join can. And if you're busy and you can't make it, or the book's not your thing, totally fine. I do want suggestions then for August and September, because last time I didn't leave quite enough time to get suggestions from everyone for what they would want to read. So I want to try to do that. So this is the video. So if you have any suggestions for what we will read in August and September with the Zoom at the end of September, let me know. I would really love to do something by an author of color, since we have read 2 white authors. So if you have suggestions for an author of color, Black, Asian, Indian, Hispanic, Indigenous, like anyone who might have a different perspective, it's just fun and good to read books, in my opinion, and this is something I try to do and don't always succeed at, to read books from people from all walks of life and all backgrounds, because sometimes it can be a little bit easy based on what books get money, get play, get reviews, get attention. It still tends to be more often white authors than authors of color, and so we really want to make sure that we're reading diversely and different voices and seeing things from different perspectives, because that's important. So that is Stitches and Pages. And then the only other thing I have is I do have one book review, and I can tell you what I am currently reading. Obviously, I'm reading Funny Story, and then I'm also reading Tress of the Emerald Sea. This is by Brandon Sanderson. It's a fantasy. I think it's a standalone, because often Brandon Sanderson does, and my bookmark is falling out. He does series, and I've read the Mistborn series by him, which I really enjoyed. And the first one in like a space fantasy, and I'm forgetting, is like Stardust or Starstruck, or I forget the name. But I'm really enjoying this. He wrote this, I kind of think for his wife, but I think he also just like wanted to do something different, and it might have been during the pandemic or not. I don't remember. He has something he wrote about why he decided to write this book, but he just like had an idea for a totally different book than what he usually writes, and something kind of quirky. And so I think he just decided like now's the time, and he just decided to do it. And so I'm enjoying it. It's different than I was expecting it to be, but I'm enjoying it. So Yeah, I think I'll just read from the back, because if I try to explain the plot, I'll probably like mumble things. So, the only life Tress has known on her island home in an emerald green ocean has been a simple one, with the simple pleasures of collecting cups brought by sailors from faraway lands and listening to stories told by her friend Charlie. But when his father takes him on a voyage to find a bride and disaster strikes, Tress must stow away on a ship and seek the sorceress of the deadly midnight sea. Amid the spore oceans where pirates abound, can Tress leave her simple life behind and make her own place sailing a sea where a single drop of water can mean instant death? And so it's just quirky. It's like there's these, on the island she lives, and in the sea there's these like spore things, like you know what a spore is. They're like floating in the air, or the ocean is actual spores, and like you touch them or get them on your skin, you can die. And like there's pirates and they're all quirky. I don't know, it's like it's a little like more, steampunk's not the word, but it's quirkier than I anticipated it being, but I'm enjoying it. It's fun, and his writing is great. He's a fabulous writer. I think he writes women really well for a man writing women. I think it's really good, because sometimes men write women and they like make them whiny and annoying and all emotional, and you're just like not all women are like this. Like women can be strong and brave and not constantly crying and a mess and drama filled. And so I think he does a really, really good job of writing women well. And it's just fun. It's quirky. It's not like that many pages, almost 400, but some of his books are like 1,000. So it's definitely, it's cute. It's fun. If you like fantasy, or if you have like a teenage or young 20s girl who likes fantasy, I would suggest it so far. Obviously, I'm only about like 100 pages in. I'm about 100 pages in, so that's not a full review. I'll have to finish it to determine if I really like it in the end, but so far it's fun. And then the other book I read that everyone else is reading, but hey, it's probably going to be one of the best books of the year, and it'll probably be in my top 10 of the year, is The Women by Kristen Hanna. I finished this one. I listened to it on audiobook, 5 stars out of 5. I like Kristen Hanna. I've read some of her other stuff. This one was fabulous. So this is about a young woman named Frankie, living in like an island in California, living very wealthy, very brought up in society kind of life, as the Vietnam War breaks out, and she decides her family is all about service to their country and going off and fighting, and it is a point of pride for her father to have family and to see his son, Frankie's brother, go off to war and fight for their country, and so she decides to do the same. And obviously back during the time of the Vietnam War, women were not in the military, but she went over as a nurse. And so it's about her service in Vietnam, what she experienced there as a nurse, caring for these men who had horrific things happen to them, as well as caring for the Vietnamese people who were impacted by the war. And then her returning home to realize that people were not really proud of her service or of any of the troop service because of the controversies around the war. And I think most of us all know about Vietnam, whether you yourself were a young person at that time, or me learning about it from my parents who were in their 20s while Vietnam was happening. But it was just a really great look at the women and the nurses and what they went through, and that they also weren't seen. And people would say to them, there were no women in Vietnam. And I forget what numbers she has at the end. Kristen Hanna tells about some of the research she did, and thousands of women went over there, at least hundreds, to serve, and some of them died, and the things they experienced were horrific, and the things they saw were, they themselves had PTSD that a lot of the soldiers also experienced, and it was just really well written. I love the characters, I love the history, I love how she did it. Frankie makes some decisions that I wouldn't necessarily make, so there's that, but also the impacts of the war and what she went through had a bearing on the mistakes and missteps she made once she returned to the States, and I just thought it was great. The audiobook is fantastic if you like to listen to audiobooks. Really well done, really captivating. Not authors, what are they called? Voice actor. Really well done. I'm sure the print book is great too, of course. I mean, Just not that much difference between audio, but the voice actors were great for the audio. My only small thing was it was a little long, which Kristen Hanna's books tend to be. I thought they could have been tightened up in a few spots, kind of toward the end. I liked the end and I liked the whole thing, but it finally, as you get toward the end, you're like, okay, I'm just ready for this to be over. It was really good, but like, let's wrap it up. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and she's a great author, and I like a lot of her books. So The Great Unknown was fantastic. Nightingale, people love The Nightingale. It was good. It was very good. It was about World War II, but I've read so many fiction books about World War II that The Nightingale for me just didn't, compared to some others that I read, it was good. It was great. It was well done. The story was good. The characters were good. It just didn't blow me away, and maybe some of the people blown away by it haven't read as much historical fiction around World War II as I have. Still a fantastic book. I just wouldn't rank it as like the best World War II book I've ever read. Anyway, we're talking about the women here though, but I haven't read any books about the Vietnam War that I can think of. So really well done. So if you're thinking about it, I would definitely check it out. I know it's probably hard to get a hand on, because it's one of the more popular ones. Funny Story was an issue too, so apologies if you wanted to get it from the library or get it on loan and are struggling with that. It did pick a very popular summer book for that one. But anyway, The Women gets 5 out of 5 for me. It'll probably be among one of the best books I read this year. So if you are looking for a good historical fiction read, highly recommend it. Just, trigger warning for war and violence and all of that kind of thing. But really well written. So that, I think, is all I have. Longer video than usual. I had a lot to share, so if you stuck around till the very end, give me a sunshine emoji. Appreciate you spending the time with me. I hope you're having a great summer, getting a lot of stitching in, getting some reading in by the pool or on the beach, and I hope you're staying cool because it's very hot out there. So take care, and I will see you all soon. Happy stitching and happy reading, everyone.